Yo, sit your broke ass down. All right, you ready?
If you don't got no money, take your broke
Oh
ass
my
home.
goodness.
All right.
Okay, if you're oh, we're doing it. Yep. Hey, listeners, and a special hey, hi, hello, bonjour. What's another way? Oh, hola. To those of you out there in those Patreon streets, if you are on the Patreon, you'll see that we're uploading a video right now of this month's book winner for the Patreon. In case you don't know, Patreon is a way for you to support the Sci-Fi Side podcast every single month. You can give $1, $2, $3, very low cost. Shout out to our new patrons, Bria Hall and Hannah Sacco. Succo, it's Sacco, and we love you. Oh, so I apologize if I mispronounced your name. But this month we will be giving away the book Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and the name of that winner is Marissa Joy Stuck. I said Stuck. You'll see in the video Ben said Stook. Please let us know who was right. I'm sorry, Ben, are you busy?
I am busy because down the street from us is Women and Children First, which is one of the few feminist bookshops.
This is the ad break now?
Yeah.
Oh,
one of the few women.
I didn't know. I was calling you out for just being on your computer looking at emails and stuff.
No, yeah.
Invested in our show. Let me intro the show, and then you can do an ad break.
Well, no, it's not an ad break. It's about Marlon James.
Well, this is the Patreon plug, and you didn't put this anywhere in the show notes. So
you made the show notes this time.
And when I
usually I make the show notes.
Yes, but when I generously offered, you didn't say like, "Oh, please add this week." You were like,
"Well, you should have waited until I responded."
Responded how, Ben? You don't respond. You're not responsive on most of your phone.
Because I'm working
email?
throughout the day, so I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Okay, why don't you get through your announcement, and then we'll argue about this later.
Okay, so if you would like to read Marlon James with us, are you okay? Your eyes are closed. I feel like I need eye contact.
So I have to.
The women.
I'm trying to avoid
confrontation.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Avoidance. Avoidance is something that.
Just finish the damn ad that I didn't know was an ad. Go ahead.
Look, we can cut this.
We're not cutting shit because we're recording this way too late. You're giving me less than 24 hours to edit tonight.
All right. So for the month of March, for Women's History Month, we have a special thing going on. Women and Children First is one of the few feminist bookshops inside the entire U.S., and we live right down the street from it.
Great.
And they have a 15...
right before we're about to have a kid. That's awesome.
Well, then they can come over and babysit.
True.
So Women and Children First is a bookstore, and they are working with us. And so if you would like to buy a book from them throughout the month of March, you can use the promo code the Sci-Fi Sci with a 15% discount. So, yeah.
Next time, type out the ad copy.
I'm sorry.
So one more time, plug the bookstore.
Okay. They didn't give us an ad copy.
You write the ad copy.
Oh, we have to write the ad, our own ad.
Yeah.
Okay. So the plug is promo code Sci-Fi Sci. That is SCIFISIGH, no space. That is the promo code for Women and Children First. We'll put the link in everything, and buy some books from Women and Children First in Andersonville. Yeah, Chicago.
Can you forward that to me?
Yes.
Well, I thought we were a business. I thought we were a team. Because when Ben says we'll put the links, he means I'll put the links, which I'll gladly do when I have a heads up. Well, this is the top of the show, so let me go ahead and intro the show. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Side under the Believe Podcast Network. It's a podcast about Black science fiction and Black fantasy and staying on the same page of our marriage, which we're already not on. I'm still reading before you say something. If you see this on YouTube, you'll see Ben was about to say something. Don't do it, sis. Today for episode 74, we'll be watching, or we watched rather, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Now, I know this movie came out a couple years ago, but we wanted to celebrate Peter Ramsey. He is 1/3 of the director team of this incredible animated film, and he is the first. Today is the last day of Black History Month for us, but you're probably listening to this on March 1st or maybe even later. But he is the first African-American filmmaker to win Best Animated Feature. First one. In 2018. So we wanted to just highlight him. We are well aware that this entire film was not just made and just directed by him. He's 1/3 of the team. But since that was such a big accolade, and since the movie centers an Afro-Latina character, Latino character and family, we were like, you know what? This is going to count for the show.
And then also the new Spider-Man just came out as well.
And there's a lot of Spider-Man buzz happening now. So I just want to say off the top, there are going to be spoilers for this movie and probably for the new Spider-Man as well.
Probably.
Like, it's kind of inevitable that we'll be talking about that as well. So I think it's Spider-Man Far From Home?
No Way Home.
Is it No Way Home or Far From Home?
It's No Way Home. Far From Home was.
You're 100% sure. Look it up.
Which one would come first? Far From Home or No Way Home?
Well, one was called like Homecoming. There's been a lot of homes.
So there was Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. And actually,
all of these could have been the same. Like, that wasn't like an easy question.
Homecoming would be coming home, and then Far From Home is your.
It sounds to me like if you really had to put the orders together, it would be No Way Home, Far From Home, and then Homecoming. Like if you had to put them together chronologically, because it looks like there's going to be No Way Home, and then it's like it's not No Way Home, it's Far From Home, and now we're having a Homecoming.
I see what you're saying.
I know.
So they inverted it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parallels, though, between Into the Spiderverse and No Way Home, for sure.
What you did there with that word. Before we get into the actual movie, which is none of those, it's Into the Spiderverse.
Yeah.
We should maybe just check in.
We're checking in.
We got along today, dare I say it?
Yeah. I took a salt bath after I spent about 30 minutes opening a 8-gallon salt bin.
Yeah, why don't you talk to the people now about, like, why would you just not stick to the Dr. Teal's small bags?
You're using they're per pound. They're incredibly expensive, and
incredibly expensive.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
How expensive are they?
So they're like $15 for that little bag.
Yeah, but
and those
how
little
long does it take for us to go through that little bag?
You get 2 baths out of those little bags.
That is not true.
You get 2 baths, maybe 3. For the amount of salt you need for your body, for the amount of stress that you have.
I'm just going to say it. You sound like your mom with her coupons.
I bought in bulk. You buy in bulk.
Yeah, but then you don't
delivered
have any
straight here.
effing room in your house.
I'll make room.
No. And let me say this because, I love Ben's mom and I drag her every week, as we know. Ben just came home from visiting his parents, so I'm going to let you talk about that in a second. But the first time I met Ben's mom, it was awesome. Oh, my nipples are so huge because of this baby.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Up.
I drank, actually, speaking of nipples.
What?
Speaking of nipples, I was drinking some ice soda, and they're like, come over here and kiss my nipples. And I went and did it, but I had just taken a sip of, like, ice cold
so you
soda.
almost got punched in the face.
And you're like, ah!
Yeah.
Because then, yeah.
Yeah, this just became, like, the podcast after dark. But anyway.
We're always after dark.
No, sometimes we do daytime. Anyway, the first time I met Ben's mom, it was really great. She was like, hey, do you want to go grocery shopping with me? And I was like, sure.
Sorry,
now,
did we just go from nipple sucking to my mom? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Go.
It's a pretty clear transition.
I did
motherhood.
My mom said I did nurse up until I was almost 3. So I nursed a while.
Well, I'm not going to pass my judgment on
2.5 years.
That's a long fucking time, in my humble opinion. But
anyway, sorry, I keep on
as long as they want. Oh, you
keep on
cutting me off. Yep.
Yes.
I'm not nursing your child that long, just so you know. But what I was saying was the first time I met Ben's mother, she asked me, did I want to go to the grocery store with her? Now, this is obviously a setup because why the fuck would I want to get off a plane and go to a grocery store? With anyone's mom, mine as well. But it was our first time meeting, so let me go ahead and go. So we go to one store, and she wants this like certain kind of ice cream or something. And because she has a coupon for just this kind of ice cream. So they don't have it at the first store. So she's like, hey, we got to get in the car. We got to go to it was like whatever the same franchise of the store was. So let's say there's a Walmart on one side of town. There's a Walmart on another side of town. There's a Walmart on the whatever side of town. It wasn't Walmart, but it was something like that where we went to 3 different stores so that she could use that one coupon that she had. And I'm talking like this coupon was saving her like maybe 40 cents. And I was thinking to myself like, well, insert your mom's name here. Like the money that you're spending in gas to go all around town, you've spent that and the coupon. So is there no other ice cream here that you would like? And she's like, no, I got to use this coupon. And so fast forward to today, you are the king of like, well, we'll save money by buying it in bulk. But it's just like, yeah, but now there's a 8-gallon bucket in the bathroom that took you.
That's our Grubhub.
That's our Grubhub. Give us 1 minute, folks. All right, we're back. And we didn't eat our Grubhub, but Ben is now just pouring wine into... Oh, you're one of the wine with ice girls. Got it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you said I couldn't drink the Black Girl Magic wine.
You can't.
I brought it in.
You can buy it for me, but you can't drink it.
Yeah,
That's mine.
so this is the Black Girl
and
Magic.
And then I'm not even doing that. I'm doing
The
alcohol-free wine.
It's called like Frey wine, F-R-E.
Yeah, just to make me feel a part of it. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
All right.
To mothers with anxiety
to
and
mothers
money.
who extreme coupon, and to fathers who are now probably going to have those traits. But you got to admit, Ben, it's like the convenience of just opening one of those little Velcro Dr. Teals versus now this very tacky white bucket in our very
I'll put
tiny
it underneath
bathroom.
the sink.
It cannot fit there.
I'll make it fit.
No, because
make
then
it
everything under everything.
I'm going to
under
put
the sink
everything
now.
under. I'll organize it. I've been organizing.
You organize, but you bring in just as much shit as you organize.
I've been
but
also
we'll get there.
taking out things. You've been bringing more shit in.
Can you just admit, and I'll agree with that. That's why I got something today that I was like, I don't need this. And I literally threw it away. Can I just say this without you cutting me off? Because we're already getting into cutting each other off season. Both of us. In the future, don't you think it would be just a little bit easier for us to buy the small bags? What if I'm going out of town? What if I wanted to bring some to the birthing center or something? So can you parlay with me on that? Like it would have been slightly easier to get a small bag of Epsom salt versus that huge tub. What if Gucci accidentally gets into it? You know, it's just like...
Well, he'll have his salt intake for the day. Okay. Yes. In all seriousness, you are correct.
Thank you. That's all. All right. How was your weekend with your mother and other family members?
Yeah. So I had to go home for a weekend, and I really spent a lot of time with my nephews. I brought them one of the lightsabers that I got rid of because we had 2 of them. I'm looking at you as I say this because I'm decluttering, and I have 2 nephews. And I have a niece I got to hang out with, and we had snowball fights, and we went to a trampoline park, and I bought them a video game, and I bought them food, and I took my parents out for a really fancy meal, and me and my mom had like a wine with our meal, and I got like a really great video of it, but she said I can't post anything on it.
Well, you probably can't say it here either.
Well, no one's. Oh yeah. Well, no one. No one. Definitely no one from my family listens to the Sci-Fi Sci podcast. Thank God.
Only people at your work do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And my mom was like, "You can't post that because your father's like an elder at the church, and so he can't like drink. Like, well, you can drink, but you can't."
Yeah, we wouldn't have posted that anyway, but yeah, for sure.
Anyway, it was fascinating to think of like
hard how we have to censor ourselves based on our professions, Benjamin.
Yeah, I do love teaching though. We
can't go in on your parents because we have to occasionally do that for you too.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
so before you drag your mom for asking to not be posted, you have to think about yourself.
It was really fun. I went hiking with my dad. My dad talked about the day I was born and how I came out like a big flopping fish. Did you watch the interview that
No.
I shared it. I shared file. It was like TikTok / Instagram folder.
Well, you're going to have to sit me down and...
Oh, it's so good. So
You interviewed your parents?
Yeah, interviewed my parents, went hiking with them, took everybody out. It was great. My family, it's interesting. So I went to church on Sunday, to a church I grew up with, and looking at that church, I never realized that I could be so happy without Jesus. I could be so happy without a personal relationship with Jesus.
Does the church need a new paint job? Like, what was that?
Yeah.
When
so
did you look around and see
I should say I never.
A shack.
No, it's not. It was a beautiful church, but this was a church that I grew up, went to youth group, and I really thought, I believed that God had called me to be part of the ministry and to be a pastor or a missionary. And, Jesus at one point meant everything to me, like a personal relationship with Jesus and hearing God's voice. And going back, I was like,
did you feel like freedom and relief a little bit?
Well, I remember literally my thought was, I never thought I could be so happy without a personal relationship with Jesus. Like, I have Jesus, like he's a great dude. I love reading the Bible, but I don't talk to God. I don't believe you can talk to God. I don't believe in God. I don't believe Jesus rose from the dead. I don't believe any of that. And going back to the space in which my theology was truly developed and my emotions with Jesus were truly developed was very surreal because, there's this whole idea within the evangelical Christian movement of like having a personal relationship with Jesus, and you can't have true happiness without being in love with God and having Jesus as your ultimate lover, your ultimate savior. And I say lover not in like a disrespectful kind of like, Jesus is my boyfriend kind of way, which people do make fun of, but really as someone, as like your most intimate friend. Mm-hmm. And I don't need any of that to be happy. I'm more happy now as an atheist talking about science fiction and fantasy and hanging out with you than I ever was as a born again Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. That's not to say that like people, it just depends. Like some people are extremely happy with kids and without kids. Some people are extremely happy like with a personal relationship with their religion, and some people are not. Like it just depends on where you are in your life and how that purpose is serving you. I really like.
Sorry, I should clarify. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you need to understand that within the evangelical Christian church, they make this point that you can never be truly happy or you can never be truly loved. Like even in the sermon, the pastor said, there's no greater love than having the experience of Jesus. And I was like, well, y'all haven't met fucking Amber.
You're too kind.
Well, no, I'm serious. Like within the church, there's this idea that evangelical Christianity specifically is that there's no greater love than this, that, Christ died for the sins of the world. And that's just bullshit.
Well, you don't have to call it. You cannot agree with something and not just call it bullshit.
It's not that I don't agree with it, that they would tell me that you're not truly happy.
I know,
Ben.
but I just want to like name that we do have tons of people that like love us and love this and that do believe those things and they are happy in it. Like it's not fair for like there are tons of people that try to tell me all the time like, yeah, but like you're never gonna feel really secure unless you have like a legit 9-to-5 with a 401k.
Okay,
it's like,
I see
that's not.
Yeah, but fuck you for saying that.
No, not fuck you for. I mean, but that's what you're saying. The opposite of like everything isn't one size fits all. Some people are really, really happy with their relationship with God, and some people are happy without it. I just don't think you need to be like, but yours is bullshit.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I see what you're saying. What I'm saying is I had this realization for me personally that This is
the last thing I'm going to let you say about this because I thought we were going to talk about the show. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, going home, I had this realization that I used to think that Jesus was everything.
We got that. What's the next thing?
And I was told that you could never have a happy life. You could never have a fulfilling life unless you were a Christian. That you were doomed to be miserable, that you were doomed to sin, that you were doomed to like depression without Jesus.
But haven't you seen so many like just with your family alone of the antithesis of that? It's just like no shade, but like a life full of Christ that is very unfulfilled. Like didn't something click for you?
Well,
then?
I'm not.
It's
Yeah,
not just like
no, not at all because I didn't have anything to compare it to.
Okay.
Like what I'm doing is coming back, like who I was when I was going to this church was not nearly as happy, was not nearly as fulfilled as I am now.
Got it.
As someone who reads science fiction, as someone who watches, Spiderman Into the Spiderverse, like the happiness and fulfillment I have from doing those things, it doesn't even the Christianity that I had doesn't even compare to what I have now. Doesn't even come close.
I recognize that.
But it's funny because for me, it's ironic because growing up, I was always told that those are worldly things. That you could never be satisfied. You could never. And I was listening to the sermon, and the pastor, totally a very wonderful dude, younger guy, really great person. But there's this idea that you'll never have a good life without Jesus. And what that does is it throws out everyone else who is a Muslim, everyone else who's a Buddhist, everyone else who is...
but what are they... Like, that's what they do. Like,
yeah.
I think people coming back, like, that's... You have
right.
to, like, you can't sell... I mean, it's kind of like to relate to something a little less, controversial.
You said
like,
sell. That's interesting. I want to come back to that.
You can't sell... even when it comes to yoga, like I have to sell you that a handstand and being able to do a full split is what's going to make your life completely equanimous, and you're going to be skinny and you're going to be toned. And it's like, well, I'm none of those things right now, and I can't do a handstand and I'm happy. Like
you're talking about yoga. You don't sell that, but you're saying yoga in general
saying,
sells that. You would never sell that.
No, I would not. But I'm just saying that any of those big things, like beauty standards, Christian values, like you have to be able to sell those. And the way you sell those is to make it look like this is the best life you'll ever live. Like you can't sell something and say like, whereas now that like, yeah, you have a good life with me today, but you might wake up tomorrow and I'm gone, or you might, or some, God forbid something happened with our kid or whatever. It's just like, you're in a really good place in your life right now. We're in a very, very good place in our lives right now. But like, when those things change, like the church is trying to tell you, like the thing that's not going to change is your faith and whatever, even though these worldly things might change. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
So I don't want you to like, and that message resonates with a lot of people. Like for us, not so much, because we're humans and we realize like every day isn't rainbows and butterflies, but I don't know. I feel like you're totally justified in everything you're saying. I totally relate to what you're saying, but it's just hard because some people are like, well, you can take that risk of the day you're going to wake up unhappy or something and your life changes, but I will never be in a place of that risk because I will always believe in this big entity,
Yeah, and to be clear that I went to a church. I
Right.
went to the church and they were saying those things where
Correct.
people don't go around just saying that to you. But my experience is that we have friends who are very religious. We have dear friends who are very
And
Christian
family
and who are who are followers of Christ. And
I get
they are.
a parking ticket and then get talked out of. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like,
Yeah.
you just.
But even they're born again. Like we have friends who are born again, but there was a level of pretentiousness in which I grew up in, where the people we interact with would never tell me that, oh, you're missing out, or like maybe or that you will never know true happiness if you don't have Christ in your life,
Like
but I was
friends
told
who are
that,
religious,
they would not tell me
they
that.
might be thinking it though, babe.
Yeah, maybe.
Like they.
I don't know, but
want to maintain friendships.
But I was
with
told
us.
that every single day at this youth group, and going to that space now, I started to realize that how different and how much more happy I am without that. And that was just that was one of the biggest moments I had going home, because I hadn't stepped into that church for 8 years. It'd been a while. It was a very strange and sort of intense experience. So, yeah, talking about intense life-altering experiences.
Yeah, let's take a break. I need a break from you, okay?
What's more important than peace of mind? Nothing. And that's what NordVPN is here for, to give you peace of mind while you're online. And with all the threats that you face today on the internet, we face them, it is more important than ever to be sure that you have the best VPN you can get. NordVPN is the world's best VPN service, offering the fastest connectivity, most servers, and next-gen encryption to make sure that everything you do online stays secure. Plus, you can use NordVPN on all of your computers and devices, no matter the operating system. With NordVPN's unlimited bandwidth, You never have to worry about a slow connection either. And plans start under $4 per month. So grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/believe or use the code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get 70% off your NordVPN plan, plus 1 additional month for free. It's also risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Baby, it's cold outside, and you know that winter weather can leave your skin feeling ashy, crusty, dry. So what's the solution? Quench your thirsty skin and leave it feeling satin smooth with OUAI Melrose Place Body Cream. It's fast absorbing to nourish your skin where you need it the most, hydration that lasts and prevents dryness, and high-quality nourishing ingredients like squalane, coconut oil, kapuaku butter, and jojoba seed oil. Experience the new OUAI Melrose Place Body Cream and Body Cleanser. Your body, your way. Go to THEOUAI.com and use the code BELIEVE. BLEAV is in the episode notes to get 15% off your entire purchase. That's 15% off your order at THEOUAI.com with code BELIEVE.
Okay, we're back and we're off religion. So if you're still with us, which, you know, I don't mind talking about religion, but I feel like it's like how many seconds until we get there? It's like, what's that rule? It's like 5 minutes until we all start talking about the pandemic or whatever. Anyway, we do have a couple of Apple Podcast ratings here because we so appreciate all of you for doing those Apple Podcast ratings because they just help us out. And our goal is to get to 1,000. So here are 3. Bio Baddie writes, I love y'all. Hey, I'm a freshman in college and Amber and Ben are my favorite study buddies. Y'all are my absolute favorite podcast right now. And I really appreciate both of you. Please keep doing what you're doing. Also, happy Black History Month. Thank you so much, Bio Baddie. And technically for us today, it is Black History Month. So happy Black History Month to you as well. I'm just assuming you're Black. CW Hills writes, absolutely essential. Amber and Ben are the best. Let's face it, good host chemistry and content makes even the most pointless show worth listening to. Was that a read? Maybe. I don't know. But they went the extra mile and decided to bring the personality factor. Oh, it wasn't a read. Great. They went the extra mile and decided to bring the personality factor and the thoughtful, hilarious, intelligent content we crave. I love that. Thank you, CW. Oh, we're still reading CW. Sorry. I will not lie. I started listening specifically because I hoped they could tell me whether Black Leopard Red Wolf was actually super confusing or if I'm just too brainwashed by the man to appreciate it. And now I'm a fan for the long haul. It was confusing in some parts. We agree fully. Great conversation, great analogist, great chastising Ben for letting his lightsaber collection lie fallow, and great source of books you might never have found otherwise. Hard recommend. Love that, right? CW Hills?
That was really nice.
Purr. Last one. This is from Vandnell. Thank you for showing what a dynamic, layered, multifaceted relationship can look like in work and in love. I am obsessed with your TikToks and Instagram and just started listening to the pod. Will you guys please, pretty please, review the book Tender is the Flesh? It's a post-apocalyptic science fiction novel. It's insane. Trust. Love you guys and congrats on becoming parents soon. So I looked up Tender is the Flesh, and it did not have a Black author, okay? But we do want to thank you for this like glowing review and this recommendation. I think the author is Latina. Mm-hmm. Yes, so that's the one rule of our beloved sci-fi podcast here.
Argentinian author.
Oh, I just saw language Spanish right there. My bad.
Yeah, they speak in they speak Spanish in Argentina.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is Argentina not Latin America?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So is somebody from Latin America not Latina?
Yeah, you can say Latina, but I was just saying they're Argentinian.
Right oh, okay.
No, I wasn't correcting. I was adding. My bad.
Adding, yes. Well, Tender is the Flesh is written by an Argentinian author, so we would not be covering that one. That's all I was really trying to say. But we thank you for the recommendation. If you got Black authors out there, we have a list of things we still need to get to. We will keep and be on the lookout. But thank you for these amazing reviews, and y'all keep dropping those reviews. We love to see it. Okay, let's actually, because we're like, for reals, like 30 minutes in, because, you know, Ben had an awakening in his home, which is great.
Yeah, and we can cut
Oh,
You're good.
nothing can get cut this episode. It is 9 fucking p.m. and the episode drops in literal hours. So unless you want to do it, it ain't gonna get cut. Let's talk about what we're talking about, which is Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Quick summary for those who have not seen. This story is featuring Miles Morales. He's an Afro-Latino teenager. He's bitten by a radioactive spider in the subway. Brooklyn teenager. He suddenly develops mysterious powers that transform him into the one and only Spider-Man. Maybe, right? But then he meets Peter Parker and soon realizes that there are many other Spider-Mans that share this special high-flying talent. Miles must now use his newfound skills to battle the big evil, which is Kingpin, the hulking madman who can open portals to other universes and pull different versions of Spider-Man into our world. And like we were saying, we're going to relate this a little bit to Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home. And they do something a little bit similar. They did it after, Into the Spider-Verse did, where they pull Spider-Man from different parallel universes and bring them into one world. Not only Spider-Man, but villains as well. That's kind of the way they did it a little bit more differently. But, the first thing I want to ask you about this is, what was the first show or movie or book that you read that introduced you to like something's going on in parallel universes?
Donnie Darko. Everyone should go watch it. It's absolutely amazing.
That was a quick answer. Well, talk to me about Donnie Darko.
Yeah, Donnie Darko literally deals with alternate dimensions, and there's a book that literally looks at alternate dimensions and whether we have any control over our lives, and or if we're just following one great long stream of decisions and there's branching other realities. And there's this beautiful scene where the main character gets up from bed and is walking around the house, and you can literally see like a line, like a tree line, this glowing line that branches off. So if he were to go take a right through his living room, it would branch off into all these different interactions. Or if he were to take a left, it would branch out into all these other different reactions. And, basically by the end of Donnie Darko, you realize...
Is this a spoiler?
Yeah, there is a spoiler, but it jumps into a different dimension. And it's a very intense, sad, beautiful movie. I love it.
Question. Is there a Ben in another dimension that loves the Lord and is completely fulfilled?
There's a Ben in another dimension who's probably a Christian Missionary Alliance missionary and who's probably married with maybe 7 kids by now. They're all homeschooled.
Oh, with a white woman, likely?
Probably, yeah, definitely. Or like, maybe like a, I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, probably a white woman.
But with like a male concubine in the wing. What were you about to say?
No, I wasn't going to make a joke like that. But that also sounds right. Maybe like a closeted missionary.
So he's kind of like, yeah. And give me one other Ben in another universe out there. Probably not with my crazy ass, but might have. So there's a Ben that has all these kids that are homeschooled that is like a missionary in the church. There's this Ben in this world with Little Wild on the way and dealing with the likes of my ass. Now who's the other Ben?
So there I forgot which science fiction short story or film, but there is like an alternate dimension kind of reality in which these two lovers' connections are so strong and so powerful that every single alternate dimension they still get together because their connection is so magnetic.
Is it like the time traveler's wife or something? Or time machine?
That's time traveling. No, that's time traveling is different than alternate dimension or like multiverse kind of things. Yeah, or parallel we're talking about parallel universes in this case. What's the other Ben doing? The other Ben is probably a woman. Who is owns her own bookstore, probably a feminist bookstore.
I can see that.
And
that Ben's happy too.
And then when the bookstore closes at night, she throws parties for free for fundraisers, like for reproductive rights, and people can come in and make signs for like the downtown protest that will happen, the next day.
I feel like that Ben's not super far from this Ben.
Yeah. I'll probably step into some alternate world. Same question to you. What's the
I'll
Amber?
Be there. Even if you
I'll pull you
are the woman running the bookstore. I'm like, oh, bitch, you think this is what's gonna get rid of me? No, we're going to the rally.
Yeah, okay, actually, it was Donnie Darko, but also His Dark Materials. The Golden Compass was the other one.
Got it.
That deals specifically with like alternate dimensions. The HBO Max show is fire. It's really good. People are sleeping on it. It was a combination of BBC and HBO, and it is very good. The first season is a little slow, but Lyra is this badass girl. She was the girl in that vampire movie we watched way back when.
Twilight. Yeah.
Twilight. Let Me In or something. It was creepy. That's a good one. Or Let the Right One In. It's very good. Anyway, and what about you? What's the alternate Amber doing?
Okay, first off, my go-to movie where I don't know if this counts, but my go-to there's this world and then there's this other world. The first example I feel like I saw of that was The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that's not.
It
So that would be
feels
Portal.
the same.
It's Portal Fantasy. So
Well,
Dorothy,
I feel like in one world Dorothy's in a coma, and in one world Dorothy's like hanging out with Munchkins.
Yeah,
and
well,
fly,
she would have
fly.
right, but that's a whole different different reality or alternate reality. We're talking here parallel universes.
I feel like that's
Portal Fantasy. You go through a portal.
Whatever. I just feel like that's my closest example of here are two things going on in two separate worlds that I can remember.
What about like a parallel universe? When's the first introduction to parallel universes where you just there's Amber here, but then there's Amber with like a forked tongue and like a step over from this one? That's parallel.
I have to get back to you on that. I don't know. I just don't know.
It could be this movie.
It could have been this movie, but I'm sure there was another movie. Or I was thinking the Butterfly Effect.
Yeah.
Were they running parallel to each other?
To be honest, I've never seen that movie.
Oh, really? It's like when he goes back in time and tries to change the fate and then comes back.
And then things have changed.
Yes.
That would fall into because, all right, how
You're
alternate realities work, right?
Okay. Tell me how alternate realities
is that,
work.
Or time. Remember we watched Time Crimes?
Yes, okay.
So
I think
there's this fine line between time travel and alternate reality. So he has think of it, Ashton Kutcher's character, from what I understand, is going in a straight line, right?
Yes.
And then he goes back, and when he goes back, that straight line still had to exist for him to go back,
Correct.
Right? But he goes back, he changes something, and now there's a new straight line. So those two straight lines are parallel to each other. Because he goes back, he ends up at the end. I remember reading the spoiler movie online. At the end, he no longer exists, right?
Yeah, something like that. Or the childhood friend he's trying to save, they never meet.
Right.
Once he changes his things so many times, he realizes he's the piece that is the reason that she has to live a life of trauma. He's not, but he has to fix all these things.
But so he in that case, he's creating all these parallel timelines.
Yes.
That are going on without him.
I think that counts.
Yeah, that would that's more of parallel universe.
And then I think that I guess we want to always think about our version right now is the person in the middle. I'll be honest with you, every time I don't get I get rejected from an audition, in my mind, I create a world
in which you got it.
A world where I got the thing. So on the one hand, there's an Amber in another universe that never lost a softball game, that never lost a swim meet, that never got a B- on a thing, that
Amber sounds very difficult to be around.
That never got dumped.
Yeah.
So it could be an Amber that is thriving, or it could be an Amber that's still miserable with her high school boyfriend because she never got dumped or whatever. And then there's definitely an Amber that lives like walks around barefoot all day and lives like in
On a
Guatemala on a commune.
Like 7
has like
boyfriends
3
and girlfriends.
Yes, there's that Amber. There's definitely a mermaid Amber somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Like I fully
I'm having
believe in
sex with
mermaids.
that Amber.
The mermaid Amber?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'd be awesome. Fish
You
Amber.
can't. She has a fin.
They still have vaginas.
I don't think so.
Well, then how do they reproduce?
There's some other hole. Well, maybe that Amber doesn't reproduce. She just exists. I don't know.
Which is totally fine.
And then there's probably, sadly, some Amber that's like
Alone.
incarcerated for stabbing that one person that needed to be stabbed at that thing.
Of course.
She's like the bad girls club Amber.
Yeah. She.
It's like, do these people just live in my mind, or are they actually thriving in these other parallel universes?
Now they are. You spoke them into existence.
I love that. Was a fun activity.
Yeah, that was a great sort of question there.
Yeah.
So in this universe, we have like a pig Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in the movie, yes.
Yeah, which is awesome. And then you have
Spider
Peter B.
Ham.
Parker. Yeah, Peter B. Parker. And just a quick like plot point is that the reason Miles Morales has to take over is that Spider-Man in his universe is killed. Mm-hmm. Right?
Okay, question. For real question. Is Peter B. Parker just the older version of the Spider-Man that was killed in Miles' universe? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was like, I was like, why would his eye color be different?
Yeah, their timelines are just,
I know, but they made him so different that I was like, I don't understand why he would have a different, like, how would your eyes go from blue to brown?
Yeah, because
sure
this
your
whole
hair
nature
weathered.
versus nurture. Maybe his parents had sex in a different kind of position or something. You're like, I don't know.
Oh my God. Do people ask you about our kids' eye color?
Oh, yeah,
that is the question that I'm
it's a racist question.
Sick of.
It's a racist question.
Asking that I care about. They're like, don't you hope the baby gets Ben's eyes?
You mean
Why?
blind? Blind.
Ben can't see.
I
So what
can't
are you
see. I'm not
actually?
blind.
What are you asking me
I
right
literally
now?
have a disability.
I answered that eye color question once a fucking week, and it's literally like somebody saying like, don't you want your child to not have your nigga eyes? Like that's literally what it's like.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
I know.
It's a
And I
racist
just, like,
question.
There's
There's undertones.
Ah.
Yeah. Microaggressions, which is why you need therapy, and which is why
I need therapy. Just me.
You need to take off because you're feeling black today. Sometimes you need to take off, like I'm feeling black today.
But I work for myself. So
sometimes
it's like,
you still need to take off a black sick day.
A black sick day. It's so annoying. But anyway, they don't mean to be mean, but it's just like, stop asking me that. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the other. So there's a Spider-Woman.
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stace. There's like a Spider-Man noir. What's his name?
Nicolas Cage.
Yes, Nicolas Cage. And then there's like an anime robot Spider-Man. There's
where the spider
Penny
is Penny Parker, and the spider element is inside the robot.
Which of those Spider-Man would you like to be?
I mean, I like noir. Like noir fiction is my favorite. LA Noir was one of my favorite movies growing up. You know, I was homeschooled, as I've said before, and I rented so many movies from the library, just stacks of movies, and I was done by 11 o'clock. And this is, you know, I love my parents for many reasons, and one of the main reasons is they gave me so much freedom to learn on my own, which is now I read every single day. I am constantly academically working on my own every single day, but watching films, and I watch films very intensely and intentionally. Like I don't.
That's why you refuse to watch rom-coms with me. I'm like, let's just relax. Like everything
can't.
doesn't have to be a murder mystery noir. Yeah,
TV is academic for me, and
I hate that for you. Actually,
I love it. It's how for you it sounds like work because you went to school, and school has school kills the desire to learn. School murders the desire to learn.
Well,
like Kingpin did to Peter Parker.
I still do this podcast and many other creative things. So I don't think it killed it. I don't even think my imagination's in a coma right now.
Right.
I think your girl is thriving. But,
I agree.
But go ahead.
But you still see as like work, like learning as a form of work.
I agree with that.
And for me, learning is a mode of life. It's a mode of being. It's a way of living and navigating through life.
Yes, but I would also argue that everything you did at your mama's house was not learning.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. I love your mom. People are going to always listen to this and be like, do you just hate her? No, she's epic. I love her.
One of the things I wanted to talk about, we had seen this movie before, is how did this movie like hit differently since you're about to be a parent?
You know what didn't really hit for me. You know what hit? Watching a movie post-COVID. Even though it's animated, but there were some times at the beginning of the very beginning of the movie. So Miles Morales' father is I will say one thing about the parenthood thing in a second, but this is the first thing that stuck out to me. Miles Morales' father is a cop.
Yes.
And he does not like Spider-Man.
Post George Floyd.
Post George Floyd.
No, this is pre George Floyd. This movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shut up. Let me just get this point out. Miles Morales' dad is a cop. He doesn't like Spider-Man. He looks at him as a vigilante, blah, blah, blah. And so there was one line at the top of the movie where his dad was saying stuff like, you know, only cowards wear masks. Like, if he's so great and doing so much, why would he wear the mask, wear the mask, wear the mask? And it's sad that rhetoric is what stuck with me like the first couple of minutes of the film, because I was like, I know that that's not what y'all were talking about. Y'all were talking about like wearing a disguise.
Yeah.
But because that word mask is now so politicized and ingrained, it's like when you hear the word divisive, it's like you immediately know like, oh, you're on that side of things. So the word mask.
Sorry, what you mean by that for divisive for people, listeners? Oftentimes when people are, especially black creators or black academics, they point out racism. They're often being accused of being divisive. Yeah, sorry, continue. I just wanted to clarify.
No, I didn't think you were like mansplaining over me. I knew you were talking to listeners. But yeah, so hearing the word mask will never, and I know that numbers are going down and mask mandates are going up and down and vaccine requirements are going up and down and whatever, but like, I will never hear someone say like, put on your mask or like, make sure you wear a mask, Spider-Man, and think of it the same, you know? And then the second thing that really made me laugh about it and how this movie hit differently is, at the very beginning, Spider-Man's dad like drops him off at school and is like, tell your dad you love him. Like, you know, on his little cop, car announcer, speakerphone or whatever. And so I just was like, oh, I cannot wait to embarrass my child and be like, you will hug and kiss me on this stair before you go into this motherfucking school.
You look so
my mom
cute right
did
now.
Stuff like that.
Like playing with your hair. Like
thank
talking
you.
about being a mom.
What hit differently about this movie for you?
I started to know like all the little comic book references they put in, and they do a lot of mirror images. For example, when Miles is first learning how to like do his Spider-Man powers, he falls, and when he falls, there's like words that go down with him that says "ah."
Yeah, like wow.
And then at the end of the film, once he starts to be successful with his Spider-Man powers, and he's spray painted, which is when he spray paints his Spider-Man costume. That is by far one of the coolest fucking scenes in the fucking world. It's just absolutely incredible, absolutely amazing. And so, but when he learns it, they show that same scene, but instead of him falling down, he's flying up using his Spider-Man abilities. And so they do a lot of like very clever kind of structural things in the film, because there's word bubbles throughout it. Some of their scene cuts are like flipping a page.
Yes.
The
cinematography was great. Even though it was like animated.
It's so creative. It's sort of like they let these three directors just be as creative as they fucking wanted. You know, it was so good.
Another thing it made me think about, and I wrote this as an essential question. You don't have to answer it right now, but like, so spoiler. We've already did a spoiler alert. So Miles Morales, he's this like kid that likes to do graffiti and stuff. Can you move over a little bit, baby, so you can be in that camera? He's a kid this way. You see what I'm talking about? Yeah. He's a kid and he does graffiti and he is most close in his family with his uncle. And so I was thinking for a minute about like no matter how loving, how nurturing, how blah, 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 blah we are with Wild, there's still going to be another family member who she's the closest, like very close to and finds kinship with. It could be my mom or your mom or her cousin Azuri or whatever. And then it made me think a lot about like, who are these people in our family that are going to be like the safe space for our child? Yeah. And also, who are the villains in our family? It really is,
because the uncle was both the villain, and
the safe space.
And the safe spot, which often that's what family is. It's both the villain, your first villain, and also your first hero.
Yeah. Right.
Damn. Ooh.
I hope I'm not my child's first villain.
You will be. Absolutely. Before me. 100%.
I'm going to be her villain before you, but one day she's going to be like, he really ain't shit, huh? And I'm going to be like, see, girl, I try to tell you. I'm just kidding. Look at you looking at me. Stop looking at me like that. There's going to be one thing that you do that she's going to one day be like, why can't dad like answer his phone? Like I needed him for this thing. And I'm like, girl.
I live in the moment.
Girl, he out there looking at the ducks. Girl, I don't know how to help you, sis.
Shut up. Damn, that's a great fucking question.
But that doesn't make you a villain, baby.
That's a great essential question because there isn't a clear answer to that. But I think it's a helpful one to answer. Also to think in terms of like showing that respect and respecting a child's wish to have a connection with an adult or a family member that isn't us, and not to be jealous. Don't be jealous.
Yeah, no, I'm like, whoever can convince her to eat these fucking vegetables, like, please come through because it's going to really take a village.
Well, I'm talking about maybe our daughter telling somebody else who they first had sex with before they tell us.
You think that'll happen?
It could. And I'm talking like being ready for that and being okay with that.
Yeah.
Because they might feel more, because, you have...
But we're going to be so open about how sex is like a normal human thing, but it's still going to be weird.
It could still be weird. And also you have judgy eyes.
Excuse me?
Your eyes just they can sometimes
I have judgy eyes?
Sometimes you do without meaning to.
Are there times where you need to be judged? Is judgment sometimes good?
It's maybe, but I'm saying sometimes you know that you shouldn't say this thing, but your eyes have already said it.
For example?
You drank 3 glasses of wine.
I said that a minute ago?
With your eyes. No, I'm saying that you could have said that with your eyes. You didn't.
I didn't. So give me an example of the judgy eyes.
See, you just did it.
I'm waiting for you to give me an example of the last time I gave you judgy eyes.
You judged me for maybe not being the most clear right now.
No, you're being clear. You're just wrong.
Right. The eyes say it.
What is the last thing you did that I judged you for? We'll start there, and then
I haven't gotten the dog food yet.
Are they judgy eyes or are they accountability eyes? It's like, hey, can you pick up some dog food on your way home from work? And you're like, I'll do it later. It's like
tomorrow.
Judgy eyes is like, I need to confess something to you. I accidentally blah, 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 blah. You have judgy eyes. I remember telling you that I got my Instagram hacked and you were like,
well, yeah, we both do. I never said I didn't have judgy eyes. I just pointed out that you have. I don't look at my eyes as often as you do. But I definitely look at your eyes more than you do.
Okay, I'll give you that. I just need you to actually come with a legitimate example of when I judged you with solely my eyes. Now I have a judgy mouth. I'd be like, Ben, why the fuck would you buy 8 gallons of Epsom salt when we could just use a little Teal's bag? But I don't think my eyes did that. I think you just heard me yelling from the other room.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, I wanted to bring up this last theme that like thinking about ourself in tons of different parallel universes is a way for us to feel like we're not alone. And I that's something that I really thought more about with this episode, because like all of the other Spider-Men sort of like rallied around Miles and convinced him like, you're not there yet, like your electricity and your invisibility, like you can't do it on command, but we're gonna hold it down until you got it, and then when you got it, we're out of here. And I don't know, I think that level of connectivity is what has made us kind of really successful in this parallel universe that is like, not parallel, but like in this universe that is this digital TikTok and podcasting and digital space. Like I hear on a daily basis, like, you and Ben are literally just like me and my ex, or just like me and my person that I've been married, just like me and my boyfriend or my girlfriend, or this person that I've been with for years, way longer than us.
Yeah.
You know, like today, somebody was like, I've been married 23 years and my insert significant other here is a Ben or is an Amber. And I just feel like that's why the internet is so powerful, you know?
That the internet is a place to discover our alternate universes, or our parallel universes with each other. Damn, that's deep. The other thing I wanted to talk about is Peter B. Parker. Like, do you remember the reason why him and MJ
add on to you? You just.
No, I think that
if this is an improv scene, you just swiped the scene.
I swiped the scene.
Okay, go ahead. I just want you to acknowledge that.
Yeah, sorry. I mean,
judgy eyes. I'm just acknowledging.
I mean, I didn't know what else to say to that. You want me to say something? I can come up with something that you want.
No, you don't have to come up with anything.
That the people we see are. Yeah, I think you said it all. That's a great observation. Okay.
Go ahead and say what you have
do you
to
remember,
say about Peter B. Parker.
Did you remember what Peter the older guy who, you know, is no longer as fit as he used to be? You know why him and MJ broke up?
They wanted kids.
Yeah, and he didn't want kids.
Or he thought he did it.
He thought he did it, and it was only until him raising Miles and sort of becoming like a surrogate father and teaching him about being Spider-Man.
I still don't think, if I had to add aside, it's like, people don't need to have kids to want to have kids. Like, he could have been like, I love being Uncle Spider-Man to this kid Spider-Man, but like, I can still not want kids on my own.
That's a good point.
Like, my lifestyle does not.
But MJ wanted kids.
I know, but I just don't. I feel like, you know, I feel like we as a society vilify people that don't want kids, and it's like this really bad thing that like ends marriages and ends relationship, and it's just kind of like, I feel like he told you before, no? Yeah. Like all of my like friends of mine who are like, we're not having kids, like they're just as valid of friends. I don't know. Yeah. And people do try to all the time be like, well, you know, your childless friends are really different from your friends with kids. It's like, we've not had kids this long, and when people have asked us to babysit, we step up and do it, and then we don't, or whatever. But I don't know. I didn't feel like he needed to change the quality of him wanting to have kids to have a that's how his character developed.
Yeah, that was his deal.
Yeah,
I think, right?
It was like, well, you already got the dad bod, so why don't you want kids? It's just like, ouch.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Low key, right? Like, they kind of kept taking jabs at his body, and then they were like, you look like a dad. Wow, you're just missing the child.
So here's the thing is, the first time I watched that, I didn't pick up on why they got divorced. I thought they just got divorced because whatever. But I realized, like, his arc is that he doesn't want kids. He learns that he wants kids, hang out with Miles Morales, and that's what causes him to go back, to be back with MJ.
It's so interesting, like, deal breaker. You know, I'm somebody who's watching. You can just stop that one, because it's we're struggling with these cameras tonight because we're almost done. But it's so interesting watching, like, conversations people don't have before they're married. I say that because, you know, Love is Blind, a great example of marriages right now, is happening on Netflix. And people just want so badly to be a husband and to be a wife that when they actually have a conversation, there's this couple on there this season. Spoiler alert if you're not watching Love is Blind. There's this couple where one of the guys is an atheist, and the girl, she's very God-fearing. She's like, she wants a man who will help her ascend into her spiritual journey with Christ. Nothing wrong with both of their perspectives, but they but this guy asked her to marry him and she agreed. But then when they got out of the pod, she was like, no, I can't. Like, I need somebody like this and like this and like that. And I'm just kind of like, why did you agree to marry this man if you knew this was such a big thing for you? Or like why did we agree to marry and commit to people when there are huge, like, someone being an atheist is not a red flag. But if you have some things that are deal breakers, like you want kids, I don't, and that's a deal breaker, like, stop trying to be like, well, maybe I'll eventually change their mind.
To adapt. Or, yeah, it's
like, there are some things that are maybe like obviously when we first got together, I was a little bit more spiritual and more religious, but it wasn't something I was like down to fight about.
Did I convert you?
You didn't convert me, but I can be with you with your views, given your experience and how thorough and how well read and how eloquent you are.
I also
but you're not daily tearing me down and beating me over the head.
And I also identify as a Christian. I'm just a Christian atheist.
Right. Well, I just did the judgy ass. I'll give you there.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. But if you had some very clear things about like, I probably could have dealt with you if you were like, I really, really don't want kids. Like, it would be something I would have to think about. But to go into a relationship knowing like, this is not what I want, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Like, what's the point?
Amber, I have something to tell you. I really, really want kids.
Like, go ahead. Yeah, you a little late. Can I say one more thing about this movie?
Yeah.
It's so funny because whenever things happen in life that cannot be explained, like even in this like really cool Into the Spiderverse, Into the whatever animated film, I love watching the New Yorkers trying to justify when something happens. So in one scene, the parallel universe, this big collider machine like crashes, and then there's this huge glitch in the city, and when it comes back, there are some things that have been altered in that universe. And the people on the street, they're New Yorkers, so they probably seen it out. So they literally just chop it up to like, oh, it's an earthquake. Oh, it's a blackout. And then the new sculptures that are in town, somebody was like, is it Banksy?
Yeah.
Is this him? Is this Banksy?
I love that. One of my favorite scenes.
I know. And then, I don't know, I went on a wormhole, and, you know, you're going to think I'm stupid or whatever, but I don't care. No. You can touch me, yeah. I just went down a wormhole of like, Googling Banksy because I never saw Exit Through the Gift Shop. I know that it was on Netflix for a really long time and it was a really big deal. And then there was the one time where Art of Banksy was coming to Chicago.
They canceled a wedding.
Yeah, but then it got canceled again. So I just didn't know much about Banksy. But excuse me. But I thought it was really cool. This is the thing about Banksy is that like Banksy's identity is like still unknown. Yeah. It's like this like, which is just
it's probably a collection of people.
Right, but I just think that's really cool given the fact that like that's mentioning Banksy, even though it works with the graffiti artist angle, is really cool for a movie about a hero with a hidden identity. Like I love how like those two things run together.
Okay, Amber.
Isn't
with
that
the
how
read?
they did that? Why are you so surprised that I made a intelligent connection there?
Because you don't really read art books.
Like, art books. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm the one. Like I say once or twice a year. I read
with this like.
It wasn't obvious that they chose until you said it for me. I think
it was the perfect fit with the
superhero,
the graffiti artist coupled with the like. There is a world in multiple universes where this like collective of heroes have this like one art mission.
Whoa, that was a throwaway line.
Yeah.
And they created an entire like read in which I think if you read Banksy, you could do a whole comparison between Miles Morales' character and Banksy.
Yeah, somebody's written that dissertation, I'm sure.
I'm not surprised. I'm surprised because I don't think it was obvious. I think it was brilliant. Yeah, awesome.
We got to get into Banksy. You got to teach me more about Banksy because I'm here for that. Like I've seen the art and obviously I'm like, oh, every time this has been done, I know it so well, but like I really love that there's like a mystery graffiti artist that's like the most well-known graffiti artist that ever lived, but we don't know who it is.
I love it. Sort of like that comparison with Spider-Man. Brilliant.
No big sighs for me on Spider-Man. Just like Peter B. Parker didn't need to want kids to be valid. If you don't want kids, you're valid. Any big sighs for you?
Yeah, I mean, they're coming out with the new one October 22nd, 2022.
October? I thought it was October 7th. They're coming out with a new one in October.
Yeah.
October 2022.
Very excited. It's like right after my nephew's birthday, and I just who I watched this with for the first time, and we watched it. He's 7 years old, and immediately he was like, "Can we watch it again?"
Oh yeah, and the soundtrack
is like
fire. And there is,
dun.
ironically enough, in the next in the one that drops in October, there is a 3-pronged director team, one of which who is black. So we can review it again.
Yeah,
Kemp Powers is one of the animators.
I'm super fucking excited.
I am too. Look at us getting along.
It was interesting though because I took my nephew for the first time to a comic book store right after we watched this. Like we literally went to a comic book store. His first time ever, 7 years old, and he's just, this is amazing. And of course he buys a Spider-Man, like one of the kid ones, and I read the first section to it. And the first section deals with who dying.
Got it.
Who dies in the first section of Spider-Man, his origin story.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah. And
so you're his Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
no!
and he got like he's like
no!
I would be so sad if you died. The 7-year-old. I was like, I didn't even make that connection. So yeah, I guess my only other sigh is that Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, and Uncle Ben dies, and that's how Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man.
Did you just devastate Ravi?
A little bit.
Did you just devastate your nephew?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
But he's a very resilient, powerful little kid. He can run up an 8-foot wall. He does like little ninja stuff.
Oh my God, there's a parallel universe where you married a woman named May.
Or MJ. Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Auntie May. Yeah. Uncle Ben and May. I don't want to think about that.
If we ever get a divorce, promise me you'll marry someone named May.
I won't, because then I'll fucking get shot by somebody.
Likely me, yeah. But just I need this plot to work. Anyway, with that being said, why don't you warp up the show?
Holy shit! In conclusion, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is amazing. The Amazing Spider-Man. It does everything an animated film should do. It is truly one of the best films I've ever seen as far as animation. I've cried multiple times watching it. It's perfect for children, and it's perfect.
Into the Spider-Verse, you cried?
Oh yeah, I've cried. Yeah.
Oh,
I like that whole scene when his father is talking to him through the door.
Yes, I get it. And I remember it.
Yeah. There's a lot of tear jerkers. Like, I'm just thinking about it now. I'm getting like teared up.
No,
so beautiful. Especially when like Uncle Aaron like tells him like, you're gonna go farther than all of us. You know, like, oh, so good. So good.
Let it go. Just let it go.
So great.
Let it happen.
So good.
Thanks, Ben.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Sci-Fi Side Podcast. We're going to go eat some Grubhub, but up next, we're going to be watching one of the first African-American Black science fiction films. This film is called Son of Ingagi. Where can we watch this film, Ben? YouTube. Well, we will catch y'all in those YouTube streets. Be sure to watch Son of Ingagi, and we will see y'all next week for the show. Bye, y'all.